Good morning, folks. I'm still waking up a little bit. Was up late last night. So I'm just recording this little intro because I wasn't initially going to post this video. I thought I wasn't going to initially post it because I was like, I made it. I felt pretty passionate about it at the moment, and then I didn't really want to deal with the potential blowback that I might receive for it. And I don't post a lot of things partially because of that reason, or because I don't want to be deplatformed or whatever, just like certain things, like posting certain opinions. Anyway, so point being, I feel like now maybe I should post this video. So this is the intro, and I will edit it together with the rest of it and see what you think. I should have probably posted it before, but I feel like it might be useful for some of you now, and some of you maybe won't feel that way. So here it is.
Okay. I was gonna go to bed. Well, I was gonna listen to this channeling event that I was really excited about, and I was gonna just go to bed. But all this stuff around the election is kind of coming up since we're getting really close. And Spirit would not leave me alone about saying a few things. So I'm going to attempt to say those things before I go to bed as I'm laying here in bed. And I'm also noticing, like, earlier today, I made eyeshadow out of the pollen from some lilies, and it actually looks really good. So I'm just like enjoying that. All right, so time to get into it. Unpopular opinions. Unpopular opinions about elections. And I always seem to feel like triggered to make a video, or, like pushed to make a video around election time. I think maybe that's like one of the last videos I posted that got any traction, because I don't post videos very often. So that was like, what, 4 years ago, maybe more. So, no, that was the last election. So a lot of you are not going to like what I have to say right now, but I need to say it. So here we go. Right, so what the fuck? I don't know. A lot of people are freaking out. Even really conscious people who are looking at themselves, doing a lot of inner work. At least that's what I'm seeing and what I'm noticing. A lot of people are freaking out. And a lot of people really, really believe that the whole balance of the country and the fate of our world rests on this election. And I'm here to tell you, no, it fucking doesn't. No. And I'm not saying don't have your opinion. We're not saying, Spirit's kind of backing me up here, we're not saying don't have your opinions, don't have your favorite candidates, don't believe in the things that you believe in, but check your sources. Check your fucking sources, folks. I love you, and that is why this is coming through. But it's like, it all depends on what media you are consuming, what you're watching, and what you're buying into. And the ultimate message that Source has for all of you today, right now, that I'm being pushed to deliver, is whoever wins this election on the grander scale, or just at all, it doesn't fucking matter. And a lot of you are gonna fucking hate hearing me say that, and I'm sorry for all the F-bombs, but this is just how it's coming out. So, okay. So why? Why does it not matter? A, you've been programmed. You've been programmed to get all kinds of riled up because this person or that person is this or that, they're for this or that, they're against this or that. Namely, oh, they're going to destroy the Constitution and they're going to destroy democracy. You hear that from people on both sides. And I'm not saying anybody's wrong. I'm not here to make anybody wrong. It's just like, at some point, we have to transcend this divisiveness. It's just not serving us. And we're ultimately like, it's like we're caught in this loop. Like these same dramas play out every 4 years. And every 4 years, different people freak out, you know, and they and there's like some different story. Okay, so like I remember, for those of you who are a little younger, like back when George W. Bush was elected or like reelected, a lot of people were like, if he's reelected, I'm moving to Canada or whatever. And I even had that thought. I'll move back to Canada. I'm a Canadian, citizen originally. I'm from there originally, right? So I'm like, I'll just move back to Canada. They even made a movie about it. There was a movie. It was not the best movie, but it had Anna Paquin in it, if you want to find it, about a guy who tries to move to Canada, and it's like there's this service in Winnipeg, which is where I'm originally from or where I was born, like trying to like match Americans up with Canadians who are willing to marry them to get them immigration status. So, okay, all that to say, this loop of people getting all riled up and all freaked out and thinking the world is going to end on some level has been playing over and over again in a loop every 4 years, at least in this country's history. Okay? And the history of the world and politics, ugh, right? And thankfully we're not nearly as brutal as, politics used to be, where they're just like, cut your head off or whatever. Thankfully, like we have made progress. But if you look at it, right, so for those of you who hate Trump, for example, like just hate him, have been committed to him. Maybe you hated him back then when he was in office the first time and you still hate him, or maybe you feel a little differently now, whatever it is. But look back to his term in office, and if you really, really didn't like Trump, you were committed to it, right? You were committed to it. You watched the news, you got outraged about all the shit he said, you got outraged about all the shit he did, and chances are most of that was manipulated media, making you think a certain way about a certain thing, and you committed to just being miserable for 4 fucking years. 4 years, 4 fucking years of your life just being miserable, having your 10 minutes of hate a day from like 1984, right? Being manipulated. Sorry, but it's true. For 10 or more, like however, for 4 years, you committed to making yourself miserable. And was it worth it? Did it help you? Okay? And, if he wins this one, we don't know. Are you going to commit to being miserable for another 4 years? Because really, that's what it is. It's not so much about what's happening in the world and is the world going to come crashing down. It's like, how are you going to meet yourself on the inside and respond to what is happening? And how are you going to filter the information coming to you? and decide what you want to do with it. Right? So, if you're on the other side, if you love Trump and you just fucking hate Kamala and everything she stands for, and you think, due process or whatever wasn't served by the way that she got in, how she took over for Biden, and everybody hated her, until she took over and she was the worst vice president ever, and she's just another puppet shill, whatever the fuck, right? Whatever media you've been consuming. And I know all of this is going to be really unpopular with everybody. But I don't care anymore. I do not care anymore. I love everyone. I love all of you. And this is about love, and this is about how do we transcend divisiveness, unnecessary divisiveness. And maybe you'll disagree with me. Probably a lot of people will, but again, I don't care. I love you anyway. So if you hate Kamala, are you then going to freak out if she wins and be miserable for the next 4 years? Are you going to commit to the belief that it is the end of democracy, that it is the end of this and that we're going to go into World War III and blah, 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 blah? Like, is that really the reality that you want to choose to live in? What reality, what experience do you want to choose to live in? Because ultimately, you are the one creating it. You are the one responsible for creating your own experience. And when you stop reacting to every fucking thing that has a hook or a trigger into your psychology for whatever reason, and the way that you were raised and the way that you believe, and blah 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 blah. Again, I'm not saying that to be dismissive of anybody. It's all valid. Every perspective is valid. And how, at the end of the day, at the end of the year, how do you want to feel? How do you want to choose to feel? Because if we could all just kind of get over fighting what is, maybe we could actually make some headway on healing all the shit that keeps pushing us apart and keeping us from uniting and creating a world that we actually love. We're not all going to agree on everything ever, I don't think, in this world. I don't know. It's not a realistic expectation at this point in human conscious evolution, but who knows? Maybe we're getting there. I don't think that's even the goal. Anyway, this is kind of a channeling and kind of an opinion piece. This is a little bit of both. What would love do? Rather than what would outrage do? What would worry and fear do? Yeah, we've had good times and bad times. We've had times that were better and worse in different ways. We have had times that were really good for some people and not for others, and other times that were good for those people and not for others. Like, it's yeah, how do we create the best good for the most people? But fighting rarely actually does that. We're at a point in human consciousness evolution that it no longer makes sense, and it actually hasn't for a while. We're playing playing out old patterns and roles that no longer serve us. Where are we doing that in the political sphere, and where are we doing that in our own lives? Right? Where are we playing into our own patterns, our own bullshit? Let's be compassionate about it, but call it out lovingly. Let's just be in the now and be with what is and love what is. And if it's not the candidate that you wanted who ends up in the White House, how can you love that? How can you learn to at least to accept it? And to not let it fucking ruin your life for the next 4 years. Because you believing in World War III or freaking out or whatever, that's going to have a much worse effect than, like, if that is objectively true, which I don't think it is. I don't think it is. And I could be totally wrong. But my friends, what really matters in any situation ever is love. And taking it easy on yourself and everybody else. And when things are not going your way, or the way of those that you would like to help and protect and take care of, how can you personally do something about it? Whether it's hands-on in the physical realm or in the spiritual realm, i.e., doing peace practices, visualizing, whatever. We're all way more empowered, truly, than these election cycles lead us to believe, and we all get so wrapped up in it. We don't have to. And it's okay if you disagree with me and I still love you. But don't be mean, because that doesn't help. Okay? Be nice, be kind, be loving, and do what you can to try to understand where somebody who has opposite or different views from you is coming from. Because you'll find that at the root of it, at the core of it, we all actually do want the same thing. Same things. We want to feel safe. We want to be treated fairly. We want love. We want access to resources that we need. We want kindness, empathy, and compassion. I mean, blah, blah, blah. But it's true. And everybody wants what's best for themselves and their loved ones. People just have different ideas about what that looks like. So chill the fuck out. Take a deep breath. Maybe more than one, right? Maybe go do some breath work. And commit to a higher form of love this election cycle that will help all of us to transcend all of this nuttiness. We don't have to keep buying into it. It's a ploy, it's a game. Keep us distracted from remembering and finding out who we really are and what we can really do when we unite as and through who we really are. I love you. Good night.